We didn't end badly, and sometimes that's the hardest kind of ending to live with. There was no argument that shattered everything. No final fight where words were thrown like weapons. No door slammed hard enough to echo for years. If anything, we were gentle at the end. Too gentle. We sat across from each other in the same quiet place where we had once laughed without thinking about time. The air felt still, like it was waiting for us to decide what kind of memory this moment would become. And neither of us wanted it to be ugly. You looked tired, not angry, not cold, just tired in a way that only happens when love has been carried for a long time. I remember noticing the smallest things. How you wrapped your hands around your cup. How you avoided my eyes. Not because you didn't care, but because you cared too much. I don't want to hurt you, you said. And that was the truth. Not a line. Not an excuse. I nodded, because I didn't want to hurt you either. That's how it started ending. We didn't fall apart suddenly. We unraveled, slowly, quietly, thread by thread. At first, it was easy to ignore. A little less laughter, a little more silence that felt heavier than before. We still texted good morning, still asked about each other's days, still said, "Take care," with sincerity. But something had shifted. Love didn't disappear. It softened. It stopped asking for the future and focused only on the present. As if both of us, without saying it, knew that looking too far ahead would only make things hurt sooner. We became careful with each other, and careful love is often love that already knows. I think the hardest part was that no one did anything wrong. There was no betrayal to point to. No moment where I could say, this is where everything broke. Instead, there were moments where everything still felt almost right. Like the way you still knew when I needed quiet. The way I could still read your mood just by how you said my name. The way we could sit together for hours without needing to fill the space. If someone had watched us from the outside, they might have said, "They're fine." And that's what made it confusing. Because we were fine, just not whole. There's a strange loneliness in loving someone who still loves you back, but not in the same direction anymore. We were standing on the same ground, just facing different horizons. You wanted stillness. I wanted movement. You were learning how to let go. I was still learning how to hold on without squeezing too tight. Neither of us was wrong, but neither of us could become what the other needed without losing ourselves. And love, real love, doesn't ask for that kind of sacrifice. The night we finally talked about it, I already knew. Not because you said it out loud, but because my body had learned before my heart accepted it. I had noticed how I stopped making plans too far ahead, how I avoided imagining holidays, future rooms, future mornings. Somewhere along the way, my heart had started packing quietly, still hoping, still loving, but preparing. You said, "I don't want us to hate each other." And I understood what you were really saying. You didn't want us to destroy the good we had just to prove that it mattered. We cried. Not loudly, not dramatically, just tears that slipped out when words weren't enough anymore. I remember thinking how unfair it was that love could feel this tender and this painful at the same time. We held hands, not as a promise, but as a goodbye that didn't want to announce itself. And in that moment, I realized something quietly devastating. We weren't breaking because we stopped caring. We were breaking because caring wasn't enough anymore. After we ended, people asked questions. Why did you break up? Did something happen? Are you okay? And I never knew how to answer. Because saying we didn't end badly sounded too small, too simple for something that left such a deep ache. There was no villain in our story, no lesson wrapped in anger. Just two people who loved each other honestly and reached the edge of what that love could hold. The days after were the strangest. I kept reaching for my phone, not to text you, but because my body remembered. I'd see something small and think, "You'd like this." I'd hear a song and feel that familiar pull in my chest. But then I'd remember, not with shock, not with disbelief, just with a quiet acceptance that felt heavier than denial. We didn't end badly, so there was no rage to burn through the sadness. Only memories, soft ones, persistent ones. Sometimes I missed you in the most ordinary ways, the way you used to hum without realizing it, the way you always noticed when the room felt too loud for me, the way you'd reach for my hand without looking. Those weren't things I could replace, and I didn't want to, because missing you didn't mean I wanted us back exactly as we were. It just meant what we had was real. I learned that closure doesn't always come with answers. Sometimes it comes with acceptance. Acceptance that love doesn't fail just because it ends. Acceptance that some connections are meant to shape us, not stay forever. Acceptance that something can be beautiful without being permanent. We didn't end badly. We ended honestly. There were nights I replayed our conversations in my head, not searching for mistakes, not rewriting history, just listening to the sound of us, how gentle we were, even when letting go. And in those moments, I felt something unexpected. Gratitude. For a love that didn't scar me. For an ending that didn't poison the beginning. For a relationship that taught me how safe love could feel, even when it couldn't last. I don't tell people this often, but I don't regret us. Not even on the lonely nights. Not even when your name crosses my mind out of nowhere. Because loving you didn't take anything away from me. It added something, a deeper understanding, a quieter strength, a softer way of holding the people I care about now. Sometimes I wonder if you feel the same, if you ever think of me without sadness, if you remember us as something gentle instead of something unfinished. I hope you do, because we deserve that. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Not all love stories are meant to be dramatic. Some are meant to be calm lessons in impermanence, in tenderness, in knowing when to let go before love turns into something it was never meant to be. We didn't end badly, and maybe that's why I still carry you quietly with me. Not as longing, not as regret, but as a memory that reminds me, love doesn't have to last forever to have mattered deeply.